in via Zoom. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio. Right now it's 10 o'clock and I have a special guest. I'm going to get him introduced. It's Sean Hodge with the Hodge Law Firm. You know, right now there's a lot of things going on in our area with busted pipes, dealing with contractors, insurance companies due to the hard freeze. So we got Sean Hodge here to kind of helping us navigate through that. Sean, how you doing today?
Doing good. So it's been a difficult week. I live here in Galveston County, so it's been difficult with my family also. I was helping my dad with broken pipes down in Santa Fe the other day. So I know a lot of people have been impacted by this, and a lot of people have property damage because of it. So my law firm specializes in handling insurance claims. And so we fight insurance companies and hold them accountable here in Texas, but also nationwide in multiple states. So I've been through multiple catastrophes with hurricanes, tornadoes, ice storms, and I just wanted to share some of the information kind of learned in dealing with thousands of insurance claims, through the legal process. Number one, it's important that homeowners, file their claim as soon as possible. A lot of insurance policies have a very short window on when you have to report your claim. Some of them are as short as 48 hours after you discover you have damage. So even if you think it's minor damage, and something that maybe is not going to rise to the level of, meeting your deductible, it's still important to go ahead and put your insurance company on notice then. Because if later down the road you do discover there's multiple leaks, additional leaks, that could come into play as far as when you discovered initially that you had damage. I know in my father's house, he identified one leak early on, but it wasn't until we patched that leak that we found there's a second leak and a third leak and a fourth leak. So it's very important to, once you realize you have damage, go ahead and file the claim immediately. If later down the road it turns out you don't have any additional damage, you can always withdraw the claim at that point. But it's good to go ahead and get the claim number and at least get it started so that you protect yourself legally from it. The next step is document everything. Take photographs of everything, take video of everything. If you're having conversations with the insurance company or your adjuster, I would recommend you download an app so that you can record those conversations. In Texas, it's a first-party state where you have a one party has to know that a recording's taking place. But as long as you're, recording yourself and you have knowledge that you're recording the conversation, it's perfectly legal to download an app and record a conversation with your adjuster or the insurance company. Not all insurance companies act in bad faith, but a lot of them do. A lot of them promise things to you orally during conversations you're having in person or over the phone, only to later down the road turn around and deny that they had those very conversations. So they may tell you, oh yes, this is all covered, go ahead and start the repair process. You get into the repair process, you start getting invoices and bills from contractors, only to later down the road find out the insurance company's not wanting to pay what they had agreed to initially. So it's important to document everything. Don't dispose of any of your damage materials, damaged contents, until it's been photographed and that the insurance company's had an opportunity to fully inspect it. So you may have wet drywall or wet flooring. It's okay to go ahead and remove that to mitigate your losses and get that out of the house, but don't put it out for the trash. Just pull it out of the house, set it aside, but keep it and retain it at least for a couple of weeks until the insurance adjusters had an opportunity to look at it and make sure that you fully documented all the loss you have. If you have broken pipes, photograph those. You may be cutting those out with plumbers coming in trying to make repairs, but keep that broken pipe as evidence until the insurance company has had an opportunity to take a look at it and review it. One thing that I would certainly recommend is I work a lot with what's called public insurance adjusters. And so these are adjusters that are licensed by the state of Texas to come in and represent homeowners. So the insurance company, when you file a claim, they send their adjuster out. Their man or woman's coming out that, is either an employee or a hand-picked adjuster that the insurance company has sent out to adjust your claim. So you're relying on the insurance company to tell you how much damage you have and how much the insurance company owes for that damage. So there's a inherent conflict of interest there. The person that's determining the amount of damage is also the person that's having to pay the damage. So obviously there's going to be an attempt at least to try to minimize your damages.
So can you send out your own adjuster, or is that something people should look into?
Yes. So there's, contact my law firm. There's a lot of good public insurance adjusters that represent the homeowner. So they will come out, they'll prepare an estimate. They'll take care of all that documentation for you, make sure that you are complying with all your policy terms and conditions, and legally set your claim up, for the best case scenario to try to get a full recovery for your damages. There's a lot of things they can bring to bear on a claim that the insurance company is not going to want to do. Insurance adjusters, when they're sent out by the insurance company, come out and they visually look at things, but they're not trying to find hidden damages. Those hidden damages can be very important to identify now. For the most part, insurance companies do not use thermal imaging cameras. They don't come out and they don't use moisture meters. Common sense technology that we can bring to bear to find out the true extent of your damages. So I was dealing with a lot of public adjusters over the weekend and talking to them. There's a wall, one of them sent me, didn't look like there was any damage to the wall, but when you took a thermal imaging shot of that, there was moisture all behind it. And, testing with the moisture meter confirmed, yes, it is wet. It did not appear to be wet, but it was. And so if the insurance company comes out, takes a look at that, they're likely to say, oh, there's no damage to this wall. Well, this wall was completely wet behind it, and we were able to document that with the thermal imaging camera and with the moisture meter. The problem is, if that's not addressed now, you get down the road when we hit June, July, August, and the temperatures are hot, and that was never properly dried out, all that hidden moisture is going to start growing mold and other bacteria inside it, and you will realize you have a problem eventually, but it'll be 6-9 months down the road. And at that point, when you notify the insurance company, they're likely to deny the claim based upon a late reporting, or to say that we don't cover mold, which to some extent in a lot of policies, they do not cover mold, but they don't cover mold if it just starts growing spontaneously. If the mold is growing because you had water that got into your wall, got the drywall wet, got your insulation wet, and you have mold growing because of that, that is covered under most insurance policies. Mm-hmm. So it's really important that, trust but verify. You can call your insurance company, have them come out, give them the opportunity to inspect and write the estimate and tell you how much the damages are. But it's important you want to verify that number is accurate that you get from the insurance company. And that's why I'd recommend working with contractors that know what they're doing when it comes to water remediation losses, working with a experienced public insurance adjuster to make sure that you fully documented the file. And ultimately, if there is a difference between what the insurance company's offered to pay and what your contractor and public adjuster are saying the actual damage is, that's important to know, so that you're not prematurely releasing your claim or signing any documents to give up your legal rights.
Okay.
So,
all right.
It's a situation where I've already heard from, a lot of executives at insurance companies where they're saying, they believe the average loss is going to be $10,000 or less. Typically with water losses, you don't have a $10,000 loss or less. A lot of times with these water losses where you have water that's flooded your home, gotten your carpet wet, your drywall wet, your ceiling wet, those are significant claims. That's not something where you have $10,000 worth of damage. You may have $100,000 worth of damage or more. So it's very important that you take this seriously. I know a lot of people, this is their home is their pride and joy. It's where they raise their family. It's their biggest asset financially. So it's important that you want to protect that asset and make sure that you have enough money to make the full repairs, whatever that scope of repair is. You have the full money to be able to make that needed repair.
Yeah, there's really no way that you can just estimate the amount of damage without ever going and seeing it. And then if you don't have the proper tools to see what the actual damage is, then there's no way. But I guess if an insurance company's like, hey, let's try and keep this at $10,000 or below, we have a goal, and then, try and make it happen. But yeah, I've had friends, with businesses, lose their walls, like lose the walls, pipes bursted, the entire walls go down. That's not only $10,000 worth of damage. You see the pictures on social media of the cars destroyed and the garages and the ceiling fans, and there's just like ice and water everywhere. So yeah,
Right.
that's no way to know.
It's plausible deniability. So the insurance company is not looking to maximize your claim for you. They're not looking to, like I said, there is a inherent conflict there. The person that owes you the money is coming out to tell you how much they owe you. And so, if they use the thermal imaging camera, if they use the moisture meters, it would be very easy. It would be black and white whether there is hidden damage behind that wall. And so it's plausible deniability that if they do not use those tools to investigate, then they have a basis for saying, well, it did not appear that wall was damaged to us. And so we want to take away where we're not just relying on people's opinions or guesses about whether you have hidden damage. There's technology we can bring to bear on that to verify the true extent of your damages. Even going to the point of, cutting open some test squares in a wall to verify. It would be a lot better to do that and cut into your ceiling or your drywall to get a camera behind there where you can run a camera on a scope in to verify there is damage behind that. So all these tools we can bring to bear on the claim. And it's important because, in South Texas, a lot of people deal with mold. And so it is a concern down here because of the humidity and the temperature. You're certainly going to have problems with mold growth down the line if you don't properly dry out your house. And so you want to make sure that, treat this as if it's a flood. You want to remove all the items and materials that got any sort of water damage on them. You want to go in with dehumidifiers, with fans and blowers to properly dry out the studs and all the different building components before you begin that build back process. And so it is something that you have to be very methodical with, and it does help to bring in a qualified contractor that has experience in dealing with water remediation and restoration. I would recommend using a local contractor that is based here in Texas and has been in business for some period of time, because there's going to be a lot of people that try to take advantage of the situation. So I would make sure you try to find a contractor that has a local office, good recommendations from friends and neighbors. And then, like I said, also look into hiring a public adjuster, because the public adjuster is somebody in the claim process that is your advocate. They work strictly for the homeowner or the business owner. They're not getting paid by the insurance company. So it truly is somebody that comes in and they can fully document and write that estimate in the program that the insurance company uses, the same software program, so that they're documenting the full extent of your damages.
If somebody's just tuning in, can you reintroduce them to yourself, share where your law firm is, and then what you specialize in and where you service?
Sure. So my law firm is based in Galveston. We have offices in Galveston and Houston. I'm a resident in Galveston County here. My firm specializes in handling insurance claims. So we fight insurance companies every day in court and, hold insurance companies accountable to what they truly owe under the policy. And so we've handled thousands and thousands of property damage claims. We've handled a lot of, bursted pipes, winter storm claims, ice storm claims, as well as hurricanes and tornadoes, every type of loss you can think of. My firm has handled it, not only here in Texas, but nationwide. We've handled claims in about 32 states now. And so we specialize in fully documenting your loss and holding insurance companies accountable to what they truly owe under the policy.
Thank you for taking some time this morning. Is there anything else that you would like to share right now on KHEA Radio?
Yeah, just a couple key takeaways. File your claim early, even if you don't think you have damage that's going to exceed your deductible, because later down the road you find you do have more damage. It's important that you filed your claim early to meet the policy terms and conditions. You have a duty after the loss, and a lot of those duties say you have to promptly or timely file your claim. So go ahead and file it early. Some insurance policies limit that period to as short as 48 hours after you discover damage. 2, document everything. You're never going to have too many photographs or too many videos. Go in and document everything. do not dispose of any damaged property, drywall, flooring, contents, anything until the insurance company's had an opportunity to inspect it. So you can remove those items out of your house. If it's wet, remove it out of your house, but put it in your driveway. Don't haul it out to the trash, because you want to make sure and hold on to it for at least a couple of weeks until you've had your contractor, your public adjuster, and the insurance company have an opportunity to fully look at it. And then number 3 is you have to be prepared to fight. Like I said, there is an inherent conflict of interest when the insurance company comes out. They're coming out to tell you how much they believe they owe under the policy. So there's an inherent conflict there, because the one assigning the value for the loss is the same one that owes that loss. So you have to be prepared to fight. I've handled thousands of claims across the board, and you always think, well, with all this devastation from this hurricane or all this devastation from this winter storm, the insurance company is going to go in and they're going to do what's right. It never happens. There are some insurance companies that do that. There are some honest adjusters out there that go in and they do properly document the loss, but it's a very widespread problem, whether it's Hurricane Harvey or this winter storm, where the insurance companies are going to try to minimize the losses and try to tell you that you have less damages than you truly have. So you have to be prepared to retain a public adjuster and ultimately, if needed, retain an attorney to try to hold the insurance companies accountable.
That's why it's important to have connections or at least hear information like this, because, for me, myself, I consider myself, I'm just, grateful, and I feel like blessed. Even, I didn't have anything happen damage-wise, but I could see a lot of people saying, I just want to get it fixed and kind of move on, forget about this, and get on with life. But at the end of the day, if you're paying for something, you need to make sure that it's done right. And people, an insurance company or anybody's trying to take advantage of you, whether that's a contractor or insurance company or a service that you pay for. So being prepared to fight and contacting a lawyer or a public adjuster, that's all very, very good information. Thank you.
And all that is things you want to do to protect your health down the road, like I talked about with the potential mold growth, and just protect your assets. Your home is your largest asset. So trust but verify. Have the insurance company come out, write their estimate. But before you agree to that number, I would consult with a public adjuster, make sure that is a accurate number before you move forward with doing your repairs.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out this morning. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you very much. And if anybody has any questions, feel free. My office is here in Galveston. Phone number is 409-762-5000. Or on the internet, it's Hodge Firm, HODGE, Firm, FIRM.com.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.